blocks that we're purging through the Scorpio end are things that are keeping us out of our highest frequencies of peace, our highest frequencies of feeling content and feeling secure in this world, our highest frequencies of feeling our own power. So as we release, as we do the Scorpio end of our willingness to sit with things that feel uncomfortable and let ourselves be there, exposed to that long enough for us to understand it, that all of that is going hand in hand with this process of also simultaneously taking better care of ourselves and pampering our physical vessel better than we ever have. And so all of those pieces of the puzzle come together to create a much more empowered individual by the end of these 18 months. And that's ultimately going to be true, I think, for everyone, no matter how much they lean into it. So the more you lean into it, I'd say the more you can hope to accomplish, the more you're trying to grip on to the things that, you really don't want to lose or whatever. Like, obviously that'll slow you down a little bit, but I do think that the universal energies, they have their way with us no matter what we do. Our actions are very small in the grand scheme of things. Because well-being is so dominant. Let's not get mixed up there. So again, to recap, this is a voluntary release happening on the Scorpio South Node end. And because of that, we are freeing ourselves from worry and fears and attachments that really hold power over us, which is a concept that as you get more into your inner animal self, like just isn't a thing. Like, we are empowered beings, and sometimes we give our power away to other things, but that's really the only way that our power ever ends up outside of ourselves. And most of us, our parents, are well-meaning. They didn't understand probably back then that when you teach a kid that you're in control of their decisions, you take away their autonomy and you mess up their sense of power from day one. You teach them that power exists outside of them and is influencing them, and that they need to behave inside of these parameters of the power that's coming at them. And that is how society is set up. That's what laws are. That's what police officers are. Like, all of these societal constructs to teach us that power is outside of us, and it's just not true. We are each empowered beings, and we are that way from the minute we get here. And it is only ever through learning things and soaking up belief systems where we believe that power is outside of us, and that's us giving it away. When we believe it, we're giving it away. And so through this last cycle, this last 18 months of the South Node through Sagittarius and letting go of those belief structures that don't serve us, now we can see more clearly what are the belief systems that do resonate with us. And as we go through power struggles going forward, where we feel like someone's being controlling over us or is trying to manipulate us, or we catch ourselves in the act of doing that to somebody else, this is a time to take a step back and ask yourselves, why can't I feel my power inside of myself? Why am I having to work this out externally? Like, already I know I'm hitting the rumble strips. The fact that I'm in a power struggle means there's something inside of me that is ready to be released, an understanding that is ready to come to fruition. So it's all about, like, always, not just in this cycle, but really always, it's all about recognizing negative emotion for what it is and a message. It's here to tell you something. It's an alert. It's an alert on your phone. It's the buzzer on the oven going, ding, your banana bread's ready. Now, do you want to get it out, or do you want to ignore the ding and let it just stay in there? Because now your house is filled with smoke and your smoke alarm is going off and your banana bread is inedible. It's really gross now. Then you really just should have, when it dinged, you really just should have taken it out and got it out and had it. So that's negative emotion. It's like a right now, this piece is ready for you to come and sit with it. So that's like how to Scorpio. And if there is no ding, So if you're in a moment where there isn't something pressing coming to the surface, you're in positive emotion, milk it for all it's worth. Do the thing where the cat takes lays out and stretches out in the sun and takes a nap, and then 2 hours later just flops and stretches and takes another 2 hour nap. So do that more often. Pamper your physical vessel. Rest more. Eat more yummy snacks, more baths, more showers, whatever feels nice, your favorite clothes, bundle up. It is a time to physically enjoy yourself. And to the end of the more you enjoy being inside your life, the less you will let other people control you and the less you will feel the need to control other people. So anytime we find ourselves in a power struggle, there's a deficiency. It's a cue to refocus back into ourselves. Ultimately, like I said, I think at the end of this, we will all be more self-empowered. We will also all have a better sense of our own self-worth and our worthiness and our deservability. Again, depending on where you're starting from and how willing you are in this process, maybe you make this much progress, maybe you make this much progress. I think it just really depends on our own individual chart. But this is a time for all of us to align fully with our own personal value system and let that be the end of it. You know, there's so much division right now, and this is a cycle still of kind of, I think, even further dividing, and not necessarily further dividing and getting louder in the argument, but further dividing and getting quieter in the argument of it all, because really we realize we are sovereign beings. No one can ever make you do anything. No one else has power over you other than when you've given it away. So arguing with anything outside of ourselves is really just a waste of our energy. And the sooner we can recognize that and use it as a signpost to turn back in and figure out what are you doing internally to block yourself off from your power. That's really the more productive use of that focus. All of this comes together with basically culminating in a new level of knowing our own well-being, which is to say, our inner peace, our sense of inner peace. And by extension, I would have to say also new levels of enjoying our physical life on this planet. There are so many things out there that maybe aren't ideal or even bad or whatever you want to call it. Diversity, it's just diversity. But it's the more we give our attention to that stuff, the more we want to argue with somebody else who's doing it differently, the more we're giving away our power instead of just realizing just do it however you want. Just do whatever you want, whatever side. There's trillions of sides to every issue. Whatever side you are on, you are right, and just let that be the end of it. Everybody's right. Everybody just withdraw to their own personal physical experience and live it the way you want. And let that be the end of it. And if you're not able to let that be the end of it, if you feel the need to fight it out with other people who are doing it differently, then that's where I say, you have to ask yourself, why do you feel the need to control other people? Why can't you feel your own inherent power? And why is that not enough? Why are you harvesting power from other people? So I think we all fall on all sides of this spectrum of, sometimes we're at peace, sometimes we're not, sometimes we're being controlled, sometimes we're controlling. I think we're all doing all of these things all the time. So it's really nothing to ever take personally or feel singled out about. It really is something that we can all learn from these collective energies, and what exactly that looks like will be a little bit different for all of us. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we're learning how to feel our own power. And if you're even a little bit on my wavelength here, you are just as excited about this as I am. Let's see what we got in our notes here. Let's just see what our notes have to offer. For more insight into your personal evolution through these collective energies, you will want to look at what houses Taurus and Scorpio occupy. So I'll put the chart back on the screen here. So in this example, let's see. In this example, Taurus is in the 12th house and the 11th house, And then opposite of that, Scorpio is in the 6th house and the 5th house. So for each individual person, depending on what time of day you were born, Taurus and Scorpio are going to fall into different houses. It'll be unique to your chart. So that's where we say, this energy of these power struggles and being emotionally attached to pain from the past versus like letting yourself be at peace in the present moment. You can see how these two things are opposites. That is going to play out in a different life area for each of us, depending on where Taurus and Scorpio fall in the houses. So each house is its own life area. So that's where you can begin to kind of personalize this for yourself. You'll also want to look for where your natal North Node and South Node are. So like where those placements are in your chart, again, by house and by sign. So understanding like what is your karmic past, what is your personal South Node that you're like, that's the bigger picture of what you're trying to purge and release. What is your natal North Node? That's the bigger picture of your personal North Star that you're ultimately aiming towards. It's always a great time to get to know those placements. And especially as we step into a new cycle when the nodes move in January to Taurus and Scorpio, it's a great time to reorient ourselves with that bigger picture of like, ultimately, what is it that you're trying to contribute here to the collective? Also, going back to the chart rulers, we can look at your natal Pluto and your natal Venus. So they're getting a different treatment. Like imagine like an automated car wash where there's all different kinds of brushes and waxes and hot water and cold water and rinses and little flappy things. Like there's all different kinds of treatments. And so the North Node treatment, so the car wash that your North Node ruler planet goes through is very different than the car wash that the South Node ruler planet is going through. They're doing a different process, a different flappy thing process. So Venus, North Node, is going through a cycle where we're building, we're lifting up all the best qualities of your Venus placement. This is like your sense of value, your self-worth, your values in the world, how you feel worthy in the world. All of those things can go back to your personal Venus placement. So during this North Node in Taurus transit, we're building up our personal Venus placement. So understanding the sign and house and aspects of your Venus, it's like those are going to become more prevalent now. You're going to get more powerful in those elements of your personality. Meanwhile, the car wash flappy process that the South Node is going through is very different. It's much more nitty gritty. It's like a sandstone, like power washer. It's not so nice. It's not so gentle. And it is about scrubbing away everything that is left over in your Scorpio realm that is not serving you right now. We only have to do this once every 19 years, and it's time. It's time to take a big washcloth and just wipe away everything that is no longer serving us where we stand today. So it is so much a process of doing both back and forth. And basically, when we look at our Pluto planet, then it's like that planet, that placement by sign and house for whatever it is in your chart is getting cleansed. So shadows that you have in this area of your life are what will be in focus during this Scorpio release. It's like look for where your Pluto is, and that can give you a big sign of what those fears and attachments are likely to look like. Also remember that we're starting off this Taurus-Scorpio cycle with Venus and Pluto conjunct in Capricorn and Venus going through one of the rare retrogrades for Venus, which is really bringing the Capricorn side of the equation into the mix and saying that the structures that we've built in our life that are preventing us from either doing the emotional release, they're keeping us stuck in our karmic past, or they're preventing us from finding our way to our inner peace. They're standing in the way. They're keeping us in those lower vibrations. All of those structures can't stand and do the emotional release and find our inner peace. So the Capricorn side of it, those energies are up there, honestly supporting this changeover from one regime to the next regime. There's like the old structure and it has to burn to the ground so that the new structure can rise. The phoenix rising from the ashes style transformation. So that piece of it it's easy to feel, especially if you're averse to change, it's easy to feel like, I don't want this. Life is happening to me, and this is a great season to just repeat over and over and over again. Life does not happen to us, it happens for us. So if we're being met with an obstacle, that means we're ready to face it. So the more we can lean into facing whatever obstacles that come up, the easier this path will end up being to navigate. Ultimately, like I said, we come out the other side being less weighed down by the past and more securely grounded into our own sense of worthiness, our own inherent value as a being on this planet at this time.